What's going on, guys? We just finished filming another episode of the Almost Made It podcast. This episode we had on Western United footballer Isabel Dehakiz. And just quickly, before I throw it to Matty Boy over here, we were the 300th episode filmed in this studio. Not our 300th episode, but the studio that's coming. So just a quick little shout out to Braden. We appreciate you, mate.
So we just spoke about Isabel's journey all the way from America through to Denmark, Colombia, and now in Australia. Her missing out on the Olympics with the Colombian National Team, and what life's like at Western United.
Let's jump straight in. Welcome back to another episode of the Almost Made It podcast, proudly brought to you by Cultural Club. Another big episode coming your way. We have Isabel Dehakiz, former Portland Thorns football player, national team player with Colombia, and current Western United superstar.
No, just Western United player.
Well,
that's fine.
She's going to be a
superstar.
Thanks.
Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
How are
Excited to be here. Yeah, just to have a little chat with everyone.
How's your day been?
Good. Woke up at 5 a.m, on the road by 6, got to training by 7, finished probably, we had a meeting, probably ended at 12, drove an hour back.
Well,
It's great day so far.
Where's training?
Tarneet?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
so you're from Colombia. What coffee do you drink in the morning?
I don't drink any coffee,
Yeah,
nor
can
am
you
I
believe
from Colombia.
You're Colombian. You're half Colombian.
But my parents drink straight black coffee.
Yeah.
And I think they tried forcing it on me a little when I was too young.
So they're like, no.
And not even the smell of coffee, I don't think I can do.
Wow.
Wait,
Yeah, I
normally
know.
people's the other way. Like they'll like
Yeah.
the smell, but they won't drink it.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Nothing
You're
to
talking
do
to
with
two
coffee.
caffeine addicts here, so
Yeah.
that's why I asked.
Yeah.
Very bad. I remember when we were young, well, when I was younger, Mum used to like dip a biscuit
Yeah,
in
when I was
coffee.
too, my nonna used to feed it to me, man.
Yeah.
It's in my veins. It's like 2 years old.
How have you found Western United so far? Training and everything?
I've loved it. I think the coach, the culture, the team itself. I just remember telling people like on the second day, everyone was giving you hugs and just asking like how your day was. Like you've been together for a year already. And then I remembered that, it was the second day. And like, we need to train, we need to compete. This is just like the first week of a very long season. But I think Western's going really great so far. And so each training, I think our mentality is try to be better than the day before. In that training atmosphere, it's fun. Like it's a good place to be. So
We'll go through your early career, but first I wanted to ask, just because obviously you just brought that point up, do you think it's like the difference with Australian football is that it's very like open and welcoming, like friendly compared to maybe say the US, or I know you've had experiences in Europe as well, in Denmark and whatever.
It's a bit more serious, let's say.
Yeah, like you're sort of always competing for your spot.
yeah.
You don't you have teammates, friends, whatever, but when it's time to do the business, Do you find that's a little bit different here?
I think because Portland Thorns, I was only there as a national team replacement player. So that was only 2 months. Coming in halfway through a season, that was pretty difficult and hard to go into because all those people, all the World Cup people who left to come to Australia, the people who stayed back got their chance. And then you have people coming in as a replacement or being called a replacement. That was tough. So I think I'll relate it to college. First day of preseason, you have to be fit. Or if you're not fit, everyone kind of is like, oh, what did you do off season? Well, off season, I was off seasoning. Like I was just chilling. Sure. But I know in college, that was a big change for me of you got to be ready on day one. Here, like I did just come off an NPL season, a little stress fracture in my shin. And then going into preseason, I was a bit nervous and scared of like, I'm not fit as I want to be. I haven't touched a ball in 2 months. I've been in a boot for a month and a half or so. But I think coming in, I just know my coach was just like, you guys aren't going to be able to do this, and that's totally okay. And when she told me that, or when she told us that, I was like, no coach I don't think has ever told me that. Mm-hmm. Like, you won't be able to do it now, but you'll be able to do it later. So I don't know if it's a culture thing or if it's a coach thing, but I can say at least in NCAA and college, it's ready on first day. If not, you're gonna get ran to the ground, which is good. I mean, you get fit. Let me tell you.
Maybe let's take it back a step. Mm-hmm. Where did you grow up and how did you get into football?
Born in Houston, Texas. Not a lot of people I was from or know that I'm from Texas. but I've been in California my whole life. So how'd I get into football? My dad played football. And I don't know if I may be making this up, but I remember watching him. Yeah. This could be a dream. This could be, I have no idea. But I remember, let me just, whatever.
Just go with it.
But I remember watching him, and I remember just like getting a ball at my feet. Who knows? I'm pretty sure my dad was the one to put me in. And I just remember him telling me, everyone, like when you're super young, you just follow the ball. Like it's all just like you're going everywhere. And I, again, could be making this up. But he was like, you never went there. Like you stayed like in the, like now you stayed in the space. Like you never followed the ball. You just stayed in the space. And he was like, I don't know, I kind of saw something and we just kept going at it. And then little by little, I just kept kind of progressing. And I mean, I did have this trainer and I still have this trainer ever since I was 7 or 8 years old. So almost 2 decades now of being with this trainer. And his resume, I can glorify all. That could be a whole other podcast, to be honest, because he's great. But Vladimir Nieto. Vladimir, I think he's like my idol, and he taught me everything and just how to see the game and play. And so I think with him, plus like just, I don't know, I guess having a little niche for football, I kind of just kept going. And then I don't know, I think when I was 13 or so playing club and seeing my friends go to college for free to play football, I was like, oh, like maybe I can do that. Then I did.
What's the system like in America for like women's football?
Very, very different. Here, I just know people get paid in the NPL when you can be 14, 15, and you can start getting paid. Back home, you go to club, you can go into different clubs, whatever, and you can go all the way up until high school, so 9th grade, year 9, or you can you can play high school soccer, or you can play club soccer all the way up until college. Then once you get to college years, then it's like you play for your college. And then once you do your 4 years of college, 5 years of college, then you can go on NWSL, now with the new USL coming out. But I know I help coach Bulleen juniors, and they do trials when they're 13, like intense trials. Like you get told no, yes or no.
Yeah.
When you're 13, 12-year-olds get told no.
Yeah.
You can't play here. That back home, no.
Doesn't happen.
You go onto a team that wants you. Like we don't scout for you. You just go. I think you have to pay money, yeah. But you just go play. You get the jersey. Cool.
Do they make, like, in the top leagues, in the MLS, the women's one, do they make good money? Like, what's the money like
I
there?
think so. NWSL has been, it's blowing up everywhere. The amount of money that's being brought into it, the amount of investors that have been brought into it, it's insane. To see women's football, I think in the past couple of years just skyrocket in terms of views, I think is amazing. Like people know women soccer players.
Yeah, of course, especially like Alex Morgan.
Yeah.
Like, America had that golden period.
Yeah.
Well, I think Australia has done such a good job with the Matildas. Like everyone knows Sam Kerr. Everyone knows like the Matildas show. Everyone, I don't know. It's been pretty cool to see.
Yeah, it's definitely been like the last few years. There's people that are literally like passionate about the Matildas, where like that.
Yeah.
And they just watch the Matildas.
We'll see. I still want to see, but like it actually make an impact where it needs to be made.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
that's another
I
thing.
feel like football here, these waves come.
Yeah.
But then once it's finished, nothing gets done.
Is there like a direct pathway into the NWSL from like say college and that, or is it sort of, I guess here you need to be in the right place, right time sort of thing?
Yeah, I think depending on what college you go to, because you have top colleges like Duke, I think right now is number 1, University of North Carolina, UCLA, your Stanfords. I went to Santa Clara. They have been such a high-ranked team. Those teams, the NWSL looks at where you go. Right. Definitely people get drafted when you aren't on one of those teams, but that was rare. I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but they took away the draft. So you can't just like go anywhere and just be placed somewhere. I think there's, I don't know. But the NWSL I think is very stats related. How many goals do you have? How many assists do you have? I don't know. I I don't know. I think it's very hard to get into the NWSL because I think it is very profile based or stats based. But I have so many friends in the NWSL, and they go to Stanford. They go, like, I have a bunch of people that Stanford, San Diego Waves. Like, that's the direct route, and they've been in California, and they're just thriving there. But I think it's very, they went to such a good club, then got picked up by a really good college, did really well in college, and then got picked up by the draft. So I think it's just what college you go to and then how well you do there.
You get exposure, I guess, in college too, with
100%.
the actual clubs.
Yeah.
So they see you more often.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but at least there's somewhere where you can get seen, you know?
Yeah.
I like that sort of
Yeah.
pathway.
And I think a lot of the NWSL teams, like I'm pretty sure, like wherever you are, coaches would go to games.
Yeah.
Coaches, but you can also watch NCAA if you have the channels or whatever. You can watch it anywhere.
Oh, cool.
So I think it's really cool.
Yeah,
and then the NCAA tournament, which is widely broadcast and such a good tournament because it's just knockout. If you go into there, then you really get to see like high stakes football. So
What's a day in college look like?
I'll think back to Arizona State because that's when I actually went in person to school. I think I remember doing morning lifts, let's say 6, 7 a.m. You go there 7 to 8, maybe an hour. And then I think right after, so Arizona State is a huge school. So let's put that into perspective. You go to Waits, you drive to Waits, and then you drive to class wherever, or you can drive back home, bike to class. Huh?
On campus,
Is
you
that how
have to
big it
drive.
is?
On campus, yeah, you have to
Jesus.
drive.
Oh, really?
But then like Santa Clara, from my bedroom to the facility, 5-minute walk. So the contrast was crazy. But Arizona State, I think, 6 a.m. lift, 7 a.m. lift. Then you can have class from, you have blocks.
Yeah.
But basically you have a gym, you have a session, maybe 2 sessions a day for soccer. That could be depending on off season or in season. But then same with gym, you can have gym 3 times a week or 2 times a week. But then, I mean, it depends what your major is too.
I was going to say, then you have to study too, don't you?
Oh, yeah. I have a best friend who was in aerospace engineering.
Oh, shit.
And she was in the honors program. So I did the honors program back at school. And I went through the honors program. She wasn't able to do the honors program because her major was so difficult to do. But she's so smart. Like, it just took up her time if she did honors. So there was no need to do the honors because she was an aerospace engineer.
Wow.
But I think,
Crazy.
you just got to figure out your time. So you have blocks of class and you have blocks of training and figure out when to eat, when to sleep, and then when to study.
So that's up
Pretty
to you,
full.
basically.
Yeah.
It's not like a school where you have like a lunchtime and sort of thing.
No,
really.
you schedule your own blocks and you have like academic advisors who help you. But you really figure out time management. I think college really shapes you into like, do you really want it? Or because some people do, I'm not going to say which majors, but you can do some majors that you can kind of, it's okay. You're there for this football.
I'll be straight out. Like that'd be something I'd do.
When I
That'd be
do,
something
yeah.
I'd do. I was going to ask you that, but
But then if you have like my best friend, aerospace engineering, oh my gosh, she's there for the aerospace engineering. Plus she was an amazing footballer. I mean, that to me,
that's a lot of
Off.
work. Yeah.
yeah.
Like good on her, you know what I mean? But
Wow.
yeah, I'd pick the first option.
But it's also not for everyone. It's not for everyone.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, yeah.
you choose your path.
But the facility is like unbelievable because I always see like videos and photos of all
Yeah.
these colleges.
It looks fake.
yeah,
But
it does.
I mean, it's massive. I think I've heard the people or the universities that have huge football programs, because of how much money they get brought in, they get to dish it out to other sports or just like the gym facilities.
Yeah, of course.
Because the gym, it's used by different teams. It's not just your team, but like football. I know at ASU, they had their own gym, they had their own turf field, they had their own like recovery center. It was crazy. I mean, massive stadiums. And then you have in Texas is huge for universities. Or I think Louisiana, I don't know how many millions of dollars they spent on their new facility.
yeah,
Crazy.
money.
Yeah.
So what was the move then after college? What came next?
Let's see. I did 4 years Arizona State, tried Denmark. That didn't work out.
What happened there?
I didn't play well, didn't do well. It was a 2-week trial, and they said, we can maybe get you in 6 months. So a no. And then I was like,
how
okay.
How did that come about?
Of what came about? Of like the
trial,
no?
yeah, in Denmark.
I just didn't perform.
But how
Like,
did you get there?
Crazy. I was working at an Italian restaurant as a busser because I graduated in 3.5 years at Arizona State.
Sorry, what the hell is a busser?
Is that a waitress?
Yeah,
an American thing?
not a waitress, but I just I clean up your dirty dishes. I take your dishes away. I give you water. I give you your bread.
Oh, is
Right,
that
you
not
don't-
what a waitress does?
I don't know. You don't take orders.
Is that different?
No, don't take that's another
yeah.
job.
I didn't know
So
that.
busser,
Yeah.
I don't talk to people.
Oh.
I just do
float
whatever you
around,
need.
do what you gotta
Exactly.
do, yeah.
Exactly.
Right, okay, yeah.
So just like a head down, do my thing type
Yeah.
of job. I was on my way to work. My drive is probably 15 minutes. 5 minutes in, I get a call from Mimi, who at my club, Legends Club, which I was 14, 15. And she gives me a call and I was like, I've never gotten a call from this girl before. Thought I was in trouble, or I was like, she may be drinking. I have no idea. And I think she was drinking when she called me. But she was like, what are you doing next week? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I'm just working. I'm just here, whatever. Because I was finishing my lease, I'm pretty sure, back in Arizona. And I was like, I'm just working. And she goes, can you go to Denmark? Just like that. I kid you not. Can you go to Denmark? I go, what do you mean? Like, I have no idea what you're... And she's like, well, there's a club out there that I used to play for. They need someone, or they want to see someone. Like, could you go out there?
Just
and
like
I
that.
think that was a Thursday. I looked at flights Friday, got my flight Friday night, went out Sunday, got there Monday night. Like that. And that was my first time ever going to Europe by myself. Been to Colombia by myself, but flew out to Europe with just a backpack and a small luggage.
How
'Cause
old were you? Sorry.
I was, timeline, 21?
Oh, yeah.
I think 2021. And then went out there. I mean, I didn't know if I was staying there for 2 weeks for the trial or 2 years. I have no idea. So just my little luggage and whatever. They got me set up and everything. And then after that 2 weeks, then it was like, let's have a chat. The chat didn't...
Nothing.
I also knew... Like, I think I'm very realistic as well when it comes to my football. I knew I didn't perform. So cool, thanks. They said we can take you in 6 months, if anything, like, we'll see. And then I got on a call with my club coach and was like, I think I want to do a 5th year. Like, let me try and do a 5th year. Because I got my COVID year. So that was, like, COVID was happening. And so everyone during that time got an extra year to play collegially because they got one taken away.
Of course, yeah.
So blessing in disguise for me.
Yeah.
Then Santa Clara. That's a huge story to go through. But because I was going to go somewhere local, and then a weird coincidence happened of having like the 2 wrong numbers for this one, or she's the director of ops at Santa Clara, and then it was crazy. That's my dream school. That was one of my dream schools, and I got
You had
in.
to go there. Wow.
Yeah, because I had basically I was told, because I wanted to go, if I wanted to do a 5th year, I want to go to a top school. I don't care if I play or not. I just want to get better to then hopefully lead me into some professional team. And then he was like, just give me realistic schools. I was giving him my dream schools. And he literally told me, give me realistic schools. And I go, Cal State Fullerton, Long Beach, just colleges nearby my house. And then basically in the end, I don't know, something happened in the universe and I got to go to one of my dream schools just because I kind of tried and it worked out. Yeah.
This is like so different to hear.
Yeah, it's
like
like
It-
your
oh, it's so
pathway.
It's literally a
different.
new world.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that like full on.
Yeah.
For us, like this
Yeah.
is like, super
Yeah.
different.
In saying that, seeing when you went to Denmark,
Mm-hmm.
what was the biggest difference that you noticed, having been in the system of
Yeah.
like America to then go to Europe? Was there a big like shock when you got there of certain things? Not really.
I don't. I think the level of play, they all very good. They all there were some people who went through the college system, so that was like a piece of home. If it was just all Danish people
Yeah,
and they
of
were all,
course.
that would have freaked me out a bit. There were a lot of
Those
collegiate
Americans
players,
there,
and who have been there for a while, and so like captains and everything. But I think the level of play, and like they're all older now. And so playing at that level, because that's the first time that I've played with older girls who are very, very good. And I just didn't perform. Like I wasn't up for it. And that was after ASU. But I think like the way that they set you up in a house, the house wasn't ready. And so they put me in a hotel for a night. And then once the house was ready, I got to go in the house. It was very, for me, my first professional experience. And I was like, oh, this is how you should be treated. You walk through the whole facility. They get to show you, this is Izzy. Like she, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And even in college, that's how you get treated, of like your official visit that you go on and you see the whole facility and everything. That's exactly how they treat you. So I'll always go back and say that college was a very, very professional experience. But I think in Denmark, it was so far away. That was the first thing. Very, very far away. But
so is Australia.
Now look at where I am. Wow.
In the middle of nowhere now.
Yeah.
So then, did Portland come next?
No. So Denmark happened, or didn't happen, let's say. Then I went to Santa Clara. Mm-hmm. So Santa Clara, I was only there for 4 months. I played a season there. And then right after that, I don't know how I got called into, I think I knew people in Colombia and back home, and they kind of talked, and they had a camp with the senior women's team. And so they were like, we want to get you in. And so I went to Colombia, did a camp there. And at that, I think it was 10 days was the camp. And during those 10 days, because my dad came out with me, actually, because at that point, I'm not confident in my Spanish. I was in a U20 camp in Colombia.
Talent ID sort of thing, or?
No, a camp, like a national camp. National camp.
So you got a Colombian passport, basically, at this time.
Yeah. Because when I was U20, or when I was 20, going into the U20 camp, I needed everything. And so now I'm a citizen there, everything.
Exactly.
But my U20 camp, worst experience of my life. Wow. I'm not confident in speaking. I didn't get treated well. Like I think I cried every single time. I didn't want to go. The teammates, I'm away from home. I'm 19, I think, at the time. It was just so different. And then coming into this one, like now I'm 21, not so far from 19 or anything, but I've graduated college. I know in myself, I know I'm decent at football. I know I can play. It gained a little bit of a personality. And so once I went into the senior camp, it was a bit different. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I know I'm American. I know I'm white. I know I have colored eyes. I know I don't look like you guys, but like, I can play. Like, you just watch me. And during that 10 days, a bunch of the clubs, like professional clubs in Colombia, were reaching out to my dad. Because again, my dad was there. Not that he was like my agent, but obviously he can talk. I mean, I'm training, so he's doing the side stuff. But a bunch of clubs wanted me, and then we just kind of chose whichever one. So then went back to America and basically signed the contract with Deportivo Cali, and then went right back. So then I played a whole season, and I stayed there for 7 months or so.
What was that like?
That was an experience in itself. I think the first week or so, getting to know everyone, again, not confident in my Spanish. I know I have to speak Spanish, but there was one girl, Paula, my best friend. She's from Miami. She was born in Bogota, so she's fluent, bilingual. And I remember her coming up to me and she was like, "Do you speak English?" And I was like, "Shut up. Like, you're like an angel that fell out of the sky. What do you mean? Like, you speak English?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm from Miami. I saw you standing to the side, whatever." And I'm on this team. I signed the contract and she is a trialist. And then just for some reason, she got on the team, and then we became roommates because I was like, there's no way that I'm going without or doing this without you. And then ever since then, like, she made it a wholesome experience. She made it like, she grounded me, because I think if not, I would have just exploded. But
it's a nice feeling, isn't it?
Oh my gosh.
When you just got that little piece of home, like you said before. I remember once I had this very, very similar situation, except it was the other way around.
Yeah.
So I was training in Italy at Palermo, and I think it was like 2 weeks in. So I'd sort of tried to, get close to the team, whatever.
Yeah.
And it was in the morning, just before training, we're getting changed, and this guy rocks up into the change room in like Speedo branded shorts,
Yeah.
thongs.
Where's he from?
And I'm like, nah, like it can't be. Like it's not possible.
Yeah.
Like what is this? This guy can't be from Australia. But he's dressed like an Australian.
Yeah.
Like sticks out like I'm like, can't be. Can't. He sits down, doesn't speak any Italian. And like at that time, like I didn't really want to like get close to him because I felt like then everyone would be like, oh, do you know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah.
And then like on his last day, he didn't do too well. On his last day, I sort of just like walked over to him in training. I'm like, how are you, man? And he turned around and he's just like, what?
Yes.
And I'm like, are you Australian? He's like, yeah. I'm like, where are you from? He's like, Nunawading. I'm like, what?
It's near here, yeah?
Well, not near us, but Melbourne.
Yeah, Melbourne, yeah.
And he freaked out. But
Yeah.
it's so weird how that can happen.
No, I think even just like the wide eyes, like I thought I saw a ghost because I was so scared. And she looks Colombian. Like no one there looks like me.
Yeah.
And the fact that she came up to me and I'm like, I see this girl coming and I'm like, please don't. Like absolutely
You thought
not.
she was going to like...
I mean, like speak Spanish. I don't want to speak Spanish. I know I'm going to have to, but I mean, the first week, hold on. I'm just trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
And the hard thing was also, as soon as I got there, like they saw me at the senior national camp. So I'm already in the starting lineup. But all these girls have played there for quite some time or have played in the Colombian league. So they're all like, oh,
who's this? Yeah.
who the heck is this taking my spot?
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I'm going to get this, like, I'm going to get beat up. Oh, geez. And she comes up to me and starts speaking English. And I'm like,
Crazy.
and I'm very emotional. So I like, when I spoke to her, I started like almost crying because I was like, no way that you, like, how nice of someone to go up to you and speak. But I also have another story of when she said like, oh, I didn't really want to go up to him. In the U20 camp, no one spoke English. And I was on the bus and it was probably halfway through camp. And I was sitting there and a girl started speaking English to me. And I was like, I sat next to you on the bus every single time and you didn't speak English to me? Yeah. And now you're speaking? And I've been trying to speak Spanish to you. For me,
it's like they're taking the piss in a way out of you.
So I've never been bullied in my life. Not that that's bullying, but I felt stupid. Like I was embarrassed because I was like, anyways, I was so pissed. And I think I cried.
This is literally like what we talk about. This is what like makes or breaks people.
It's the little like mind games
things like that.
Too,
some people would they would collapse.
Yeah.
But you gotta dust yourself off and then like train, get your head right.
But even like
little things.
The situation with me, like it was probably selfish of me. But at the same, but I'm trying to like protect myself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's and sort of how football. It is, man.
You have to sort of be like that.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's the things that no one talks about or
that's
they don't realise.
Like, you think about it, like for us it's normal because we've all sort of played football, we understand. But when you tell it to an everyday person, they're like, what do you mean? Like how can a person be that mean? That. But they don't realise how cutthroat like the industry is. And it's like you got to have thick skin or you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And even in women's football, it's the same.
I think I cried every single training in the U20 camp. And I remember calling my mom. I always call my mom. But even in my first senior national camp, I was so scared. And I cried and I did not want, because our first thing was getting to lunch. And I was like, I don't want to go to lunch. I don't want to walk down these steps and go down there. Like I've already been in the facility. I already know where to go. But I'm like, I don't want to do it. But I have realized once you tell yourself like, oh, I don't want to do it. Oh, that's exactly when you should go do it. Absolutely. I told Australia is like super far. I don't know if I should go do it. I'll go do it. I think my little journey, it's been like, oh, I've gone like 7-hour drive away from home to go to college. Because I've been on my own, like living wise since I was 17, going to college in the summer. Like in the dorms, then living by myself or in a house or something. And then I go to Denmark. Then I go, oh my gosh. Then I go to Colombia, then I go to Portland, and then I come here. And everywhere was like a little bit further away. So Denmark was a taste of what like this could be.
Yeah.
And I remember calling my mom when it was who knows how late and it was how early over there or something. I was like, gosh, the time, like it's so hard. And then now it's like, well, you just got to figure it out. Yeah. Like now on my hour drive home from Tarnit, hey mom, how's it going? So
how's your Spanish now?
I think it's great. It's good. Like
I can't judge. You could just start spinning stuff. I'll be like, it's good. Yeah.
No, I remember because we would always Uber everywhere in Colombia, and I remember I had to go to another camp, and the airport's an hour away, and the whole time I spoke to the taxi, and it was just me and the taxi in Spanish, and I tell people it's like talking to a little kid. It's like talking to a little kid in Spanish. That's it. Because I'm not going to be able to go off of this like I speak English.
You managed to conversate for an hour. That's pretty good.
So once I did that,
I was their first language these days.
Exactly.
So I was like, I think I can do it. And then I think the greatest part was one of my cousins or someone had a wedding in Bogota, like my family, and all my family came. So when Colombians have wedding, family reunion.
Big fiesta. Huh?
Big fiesta. And I remember it was the first time speaking to my whole other half of the family. And the fact that I was able to talk to them and they could ask me questions and I could actually respond.
Yeah, that's nice.
I mean, they were like, wow. And then that means they want to keep talking to you. And I'm like, okay, it hurts the brain sometimes. Like, hold on.
Yeah.
But pretty proud of myself for sticking to it.
Good.
Yeah.
And then, so Portland came next.
After Colombia, yes.
What was that like? Because I know, like, my sister was like a big Portland Thorns fan.
Really?
Yeah. I think it was like, I don't know. She bought a jersey.
Yeah.
She got full on into it.
Wow,
so,
okay.
I mean, I know a little bit.
Yeah.
But obviously you played there.
Yeah.
So what was it like playing there?
I think, can I start of how I got there?
Yes, of course.
Because I think that's a weird kind of segue that doesn't really happen when I was at Deportivo Cali or in that league, if you're, I think, top 2 or 4 teams, you go to Copa Libertadores. And that's a whole other tournament in the next 2 months. We didn't make it. So an agent reached out to me through Instagram DM. When people, like, I don't usually see that. I'm just like, I'm not on Instagram that much. And when I was like, wait, this is like a agency with, I don't know how many followers, but big names are in this agency. And they reached out to me and I was like, this is weird. And so then I get like in Spanish a text and I'm like, okay, speak to me in English. Like, I don't want to do Spanish. Like, just speak to me in English. And then fast forward there, we got on a Zoom call and they were just like, well, the World Cup is happening. There's national team replacement players that are needed. How does it sound to go to Portland Thorns? And I had no idea because you can't just say it on Instagram of like, hey, like, do you want to play for the Portland Thorns? Like, you want to sign? Like, they needed to say like, oh, what are you doing? What's this going to be like? And then to get that, like, that was crazy. And I just remember a week before that, I was on the phone with my dad outside my little balcony. And I remember calling my dad and I was like, I feel like I'm at a standstill. Like, nothing's going anywhere. I haven't been called into camp. I just feel like I'm stuck. A week later, the agency contacts me and then we get on a call and then it's like, oh, Portland Thorns. Then I go back home. 2 weeks later, I get on a flight, go to Portland. Talk about a professional atmosphere that gets you into housing with someone. I think every 2 people have a car to share. I mean, we have training, I think, every day at like 9 a.m. You get paid well. I mean, it's in an older stadium. So like we go like all the way at the bottom and then we go out. It's a turf field. And I don't think you usually see turf fields. I don't think a lot of people like turf fields. I don't think they like the turf. However, Portland, the trainings, I mean, I was playing with my idols. Even the people who didn't go to the World Cup, like those were people that I was like in awe of. And one of them, Becky Sauerbrunn, she's a U.S. national team player, number 4 center back. And I've watched her ever since I was pretty young. And so I got to play with her because she didn't get called into the World Cup because her ankle was injured. And so I was the one, I don't want to say I'm the one who brought her back, but I didn't play games. Like I was basically just like a train on. Like I do have jerseys and stuff like that, but I got to play with her and like pass the ball with her and like her to call my name and she wants the ball. I was like, this is weird. Like this is surreal experience. But I mean, it was 2 months? So
Still.
We learned a lot too at that level.
Learned a lot, but it's also like, the standard, you should already, your first touch has to be perfect. It should be perfect. You're here.
Of course.
I mean, you can't be missing like 5-yard shots. You can't be missing this, that. It's like, that's the standard. Like, that's what you get for coming here. The pass should have no bobble on it. And that was the hardest thing for me. Not saying the Colombian league is so far below, but coming from, I mean, I was in a gym with like, you could trip over the concrete in Colombia. Or
when you went to the top facilities.
the weights were rusting and all this stuff. And I was doing, I think, 50 push-ups a day over there. That's crazy. And then now over here, I'm in with the actual SNC they have SNCs, like professional SNCs over there, but it's different in the U.S. But I would say it's like college. Like I've been used to that in college. And then I think now, fast forward to Western, like it's like college. The SNC, you have the athletic trainer, or you don't have an athletic trainer, but a physio. But yeah.
So then from Portland, you decided finally to make the big move to Melbourne.
It was interesting because I knew I didn't want to go back to Colombia. Because in my head, I wanted to chase happiness and not, because it was an Olympic year. And this is like kind of what I struggle with sometimes, because I would like to say if I would have stayed in Colombia, probably would have gone to the Olympics. I was on the 60-man roster for the Olympics because I was on the World Cup roster for the past. But then I didn't stay in Colombia. And then I remember getting all the texts of like, please fill this out for Paris and everything like that. And I wasn't in Colombia.
Jeez.
So
do you regret that?
That's for me. So now,
sorry, I had to ask.
Yeah,
it's very interesting,
because it's super hard because I still don't know but I honestly think like everything happens for a reason, and I think the amount of people that I've met here in Melbourne, I think it's exactly where I need to be. The coach that I have now, the team that I have now, I wouldn't have that in Colombia. Would I be as happy? I think I play my best when I'm happy, and it's just like playing with my best friends. And then in Colombia, not that honestly, maybe I wasn't happy playing there. I don't know. I think in Colombia, it's very passionate soccer, and like they play for their country. And I was thinking about this the other day. It's like, I don't have that same passion for Colombia.
That's a great point that you made.
For the jersey. I think that's hard. Like, who knows if my dad will watch this, but I think like that'll be hard for him to hear. Because for him, if he wore the Colombian jersey, like if I wore a country's jersey,
of course, you're going to try. Like, I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean.
But you see the Colombian players who are there now, they will absolutely die for that shirt. And again, like the U.S. to me, if I wore a U.S. jersey, I would do that for the U.S. jersey.
And I respect that honesty because we always discuss this and we always say this.
Yeah.
And this is the point exactly I bring. For me, it's like I think some people play for a national team that they wouldn't die for that jersey.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Like, I know I'm exactly the same. I couldn't bring myself to play for a national team that I'm like 1/3. But like, really, I got no... And I look at a national team exactly the same way. Like, you're going to war, basically.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's different from like just a club.
100%.
Like, you are literally representing a country.
Literally.
A whole, people, a group of people.
Exactly.
And that's... I think I struggle with that too, because it's like, yes, I can speak Spanish, but I'm not fluent. So what if I do play for my country and I can't speak to the people? Like, yes, I can, but it's like it's not like if I wore the American jersey and I'm speaking to all these little kids and children and like, but I just, I don't really know.
But credit to you. I mean, there's an opportunity you have to take it to. Like, obviously, and you are
Colombian. Still half Colombian.
Yeah.
So,
And like, I'm I'm 24. I still have hopefully 6 more years left in me. I think that's what I'm.
More 10.
I mean, well, because I have like other aspirations
things,
to go. But like what your question was, would you go or whatever? But chose to go to Australia. But the only reason why was because I knew Kayla Morrison, and Kayla was a national team replacement player for the Portland Thorns as well. So if she didn't go there, who knows if this would have happened? Because then at Bulleen, like the coach and everything, it all happened through Kayla. And because I told her, I was like, I would always love to travel. Australia has been on like my list, and so like might as well go out and try it. And then basically it was, do you want to try for the A-League next season or next year, so now, or do you want to do an NPL season and then hope for the best that an A-League picks you up? And I was like, oh, might as well go there, play an NPL season, see what happens, and then hopefully an A-League takes you. And then that's
what happened.
I did the one thing that happened. So, or one thing.
So then you signed with Western United, correct?
Yep.
For this
Western.
season.
Mm-hmm.
And you got a friendly tomorrow, I believe.
Melbourne City.
Excited?
Very excited. Yeah. Excited to play a team. See, and I haven't really watched A-League teams. So it's pretty cool because I think that's a big thing for younger people as well. Like when they see, or at least like Aussies, when they see Melbourne City, Melbourne Victory, they know the girls and they know the team, and people are diehard Victory fans or diehard this. Like all my younger Bulleen girls are like, oh no, we want you to play for Victory, we want you to play for City. I'm like, I really don't care. Well, like, which may be hard to say, but I'm like, I'm not associated with the team.
Yeah.
But they, like, ever since they were born, they have always worn a type of jersey. And so, so I'm just happy for Western to pick me up. And then, I mean, once you do wear a jersey and you get to know the fans and you get to know the team, then you're like, now I have a team.
Mm-hmm. Was a funny fact, I don't think I told you, but I was in the same room when Izzy got, remember you got that email from Western?
Contract?
Yeah, literally on my phone. I was like, look,
we were in a meeting earlier.
Yeah, it was on there.
It's because of you. Yeah.
So that was pretty cool
true.
to say that. So what's next? Obviously, you've got a game tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's
the
I need dinner,
next.
but I mean.
Dinner, whatever.
Yeah.
But what's the goal for this season? Because I know you were injured as well for a little bit.
Yeah.
You've made a recovery.
Mm-hmm.
What's the goal?
I think the goal is, I don't want to keep thinking about it, but like to not get injured. Hopefully have a good, healthy season, like hopefully. Yeah. But I think our head of performance, our physio, like I'm very happy that they're there and that they've been like progressing me the way that I can. But a goal for me, I think whatever role that I'm in, if that's center back, if that's the 6, if that's coming off the bench, is keep my standard to where I want it to be. And I don't know, just like keep learning, because ever since that first training that we had, and our coach is like on the little things, and that's like my favorite thing is when you nitpick on the little things. I don't know. I think it's a great atmosphere to just like keep learning. So what do I want to do in this season? Gosh, I want to win. Like I want to go far with this. Like I think their 3rd season in the A-League. And so would it be great to my first season, Western's 3rd season, to win a championship? I mean, that would be sick. But like, how do we get there? Like, I think it's the little things.
Do you have any aspirations, like even looking a few seasons ahead, like to get back in national team setups? Maybe break into America if you can?
Yeah.
Like,
what if the Matildas say get your citizenship?
And play for Australia.
It'd be the same situation as Colombia, man.
Yeah, we've got to ask.
Yeah. I see.
She speaks English.
Different English, but
that's good.
Different.
I see. For me, it's like the same with Colombia. Like,
that's what exactly. Right.
Yeah.
No, but as in you, what I'm saying is, your aspiration, obviously, at the end would be if you could play for America. Do you think there's still like a possibility?
I mean, I would love to.
Yeah, that's the ultimate goal, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, that's been my play. A World Cup and Olympics with the US.
So you're not like capped with Colombia, no.
So I've never capped, and that's the hard thing too. Is they're like, oh, you're a national team player, and I'm like, yes, I've only been into camps, and people are, well, that's still great. Yes, I know, but I want to play. Like I want to be a capped. I want to
At least it leaves the door open, but if
But-
America comes knocking.
Again, I think blessing in
Yeah,
disguise.
it could be exactly.
So, and that's, I go back to everything happens for a reason of, who knows.
Yeah.
But I would love to play in Europe someday. And this is like my timeline. I don't know. I want to keep traveling. So Europe, if I could go as far as I can in Europe and keep playing, that would be great. But then I would love to retire back home.
America.
Because then after that, different things that I want to do. And
Like?
you only got orthopedic surgeon.
Oh,
Orthopedic surgeon or
Maybe you said this.
Like,
Like,
full on
yeah.
boom.
Something nice and easy.
like go back to med school and learn
Sip on wine in California.
in the wine
10
country.
years of med school. Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, like go back to med school or like open up my own indoor facility or
nice.
some type of facility. But I don't know, or coaching. Like that's always like, I would love to
Pretty sure
coach
that's
as well.
Italy next. Ale will sort you out. Asian Ale.
Oh, yeah.
Agent Ale, yeah, there you go.
Inter, straight to Inter.
But
Yeah,
we'll
well,
see.
good. Big dreams, big goals. Why not? At
Yeah.
least,
Yeah.
something to work towards. I think we'll wrap it up.
Great.
Anything? Well, actually, I want one more thing because I know that women's football, especially now here, is getting massive.
Yeah.
And there's probably a lot of aspiring female footballers out there. If you had to give someone aspiring to be a professional, someone young, a bit of advice,
Yeah.
what would it be?
I think kind of what we talked about before of if something happens and even if you cry or if you complain or if you, I don't know, if you truly love it, don't have that one person end it for you. Because I know that's happened for me at different stages of my career. And then I have to go back and tell myself, you're not going to kill this for me. Like, I love this sport. If you don't love it, fair enough.
Yeah.
But I think if deep down you really enjoy it and you want to keep going, I think you'll be happy with yourself in the end. And like, I'm very happy that I didn't stop when I was how younger in college or something like that. Because like, look at me now. Like I can say like I've lived in a couple different countries. I've met so many different types of people. I don't know. Yeah, keep going. Even if you cry, like go cry it out. You need to cry. But I think especially for younger girls too, like you can talk to people. Like it doesn't matter if they're professional or not. Go talk to them and they'll hopefully be nice enough to talk to you back.
It's funny, we literally had this conversation right here, last episode,
Yeah, we did.
about, not giving up.
Yeah.
You never know what's around the corner, especially in football.
Well, look at some of the opportunities you had. Like you said, there was nothing happening, and then boom, next week,
Yeah.
something happens.
Weird things happen.
Just got to keep persisting,
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
faith, work hard. Good
Yeah.
things will happen.
That's it. Well, we wish you all the best for this season too. I'm sure
Thank
you're going to
you.
kill it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for
you
having
very
It was
me.
an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, this is fun.
And thank you for listening at home. Make sure you are following YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, TikTok. What else?
Tumblr, whatever it is now.
Pinterest.
All the rest of it.
All these socials, man.
Of course, I know
Yeah.
all of them. We've got some other big guests lined up, so make sure you keep an eye out. Thank you once again. We'll see you next episode.